Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, new releases, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today we're going to be talking about new releases over the last 2 weeks and whether or not I would purchase or pass. If that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. So I was trying to decide where I left off last week, and I think the last thing that got released since I talked last week with you guys was the Colourpop and BT21 collection. So they did this huge 30 pan palette and 24 pan palette. And then a bunch of Super Shocks that were that like tie-dye formula. There's some lip glosses. I can easily pass over the lip glosses. I've not been terribly impressed with some of the Colourpop lip products recently. The tie-dye Super Shocks definitely intrigue me, but I feel like, I have a whole drawer of those Super Shocks. So I feel like I'm probably needing to control myself a little bit. The actual palette itself I'm kind of intrigued by, although there are 3 pressed glitters, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think this palette would be great to get and then break down and mix with some of the other singles that I have from Colourpop to remake into palettes that I like better. I have 2 palettes from them. The, what are they? I have 2 of their like fair carnival palettes, Ticket to Dreamland and On a Whimsy, that I feel like they just could use a little bit more like pop, brightness, interest. And I think these shades mixed with those shades would be a really cool combination. So if this comes to Ulta, I may go ahead and pick this one up. I didn't feel the need to buy it right off the jump from Colourpop's website directly, but to sort of harvest the singles out of it, I think it would be a great addition for me. Next up is the Natasha Denona Mini Bronze Palette, and this will be $25. It has 4 mattes and 1 shimmer. We already know I am not a huge fan of warm toned neutrals. I do like the Bronze Midi palette because it kind of gives me this like vacation sunburnt vibe. This smaller palette though is 4 warm toned mattes and 1 metallic. It just doesn't strike me the same way, so it'll be an easy pass for me. Ooh, this I'm also excited about. So e.l.f. is releasing a Halo Glow liquid filter. I do have the Halo Glow setting powder, which I do think is a very nice sort of luminous setting powder without being like sparkly. And so this I think would end up being kind of a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Glow Wands. And it comes in a ton of shades. I think there's like 8 shades, all the way from fair to like a rich kind of a shade. It's supposed to be a highlighter, so I understand it's not going like super dark. I still think it has a pretty decent range, although some of the shades do seem quite similar. I would be very excited to try this one, so I'm keeping an eye out for it to come to Ulta. The next thing to talk about is the Uoma Beauty Salute to the Sun collection. There's an eyeshadow palette, 3 lipsticks, looks like 2 different mascaras. I want to say these are some eye pencils and liquid highlighters. The palette, although I like Uoma Beauty's formula, it's a fantastic formula. They've recently changed it. The palette is just so big and bulky. I just cannot stand palettes that have like all this extra space for nothing, especially when they're also very thick. So this one is like thick and wide. That's not what I like in an eyeshadow palette. So for me, that's an easy pass. The lipsticks are beautiful. I have a ton of lipsticks right now though, so I kind of need to control myself. And the rest of the collection just doesn't grab me enough to actually like physically go make a purchase. So yeah, I'll be skipping over that one as well. Ace Beauté released their Palettopoly collection, and when they first started sneak peeking this with the Palettopoly name, I was really thinking this was going to end up being some kind of like Monopoly kind of thing. Like, I don't know, I was really excited for the fact that there could be like a real like gameplay element to it because I thought that would be really interesting. What they ended up releasing is basically Palette Bingo with cards so that you don't have to like randomly number generate anything. Okay, I'm not super wowed by the concept. The color story is kind of cute. I mean, you have some really interesting tones there, even though it's not really a rainbow palette per se. It's kind of heading in that direction, but they do give you some really interesting tones. But I just don't think it's like special enough for me to go ahead and purchase this, and I certainly would not purchase the entire collection. It's just too much. The next thing to talk about is the Marc Jacobs Daisy Ever So Fresh Eau de Parfum. And this has top notes of mandarin essence, mango, and pineapple. Mid essence of rose water, orange blossom essence, and the base note is cashmere woods. That sounds like a tropical delight, and I would be all over that. I cannot wait to see this in stores so that I can smell it and see if I would like it enough to either get like a small travel spray or potentially a larger bottle of this one. Nabla added 7 new shades to their Cupid's Arrow collection, and I think this is such a fantastic addition for them. They already had some shades that came out with some of the smaller 6-pan palettes that they've done in the past. I thought those were really pretty as well, but these are some interesting like pops of color. I really am drawn to the mint, that kind of lavender shade, and the pink on the end, and then the cream on the other side of the picture also is like very alluring. They're €16.90 each, so not super expensive, and I do feel like they hold up well in my waterline. I tend to lose pigment on eyeliners very quickly, so I think that's really cool. Again, if these came to Ulta, I'd probably get them, but to order all the way from the Italian Nabla website, I probably would not bother just for an eyeliner, but if these are at Ulta, I might pick one up. The next one to talk about is the Trixie Cosmetics collab with Juno, and they created a palette that is, what, 12 shades? Yeah. 12 shades. I really like the 6 on the left. So the white shade, the 2 purples, the blues, and the black. I think that's a really pretty color combination. The shades on the other side, though, I'm not as drawn to, and I just feel like they're kind of like desaturated and lackluster. The Trixie formula, it's fine, but it's not like blowing me out of the water, and it is kind of pricey for their palettes. So I don't think this one is enough to really like coerce me into buying the palette, but I do think the left side of the palette is quite pretty. This collection really got me though. This is the Essence Cosmetics Summer Collection, Cute as Shell. And they really leaned into this like shell theme. They have a cute little shell lip balm, which is adorable, except for the fact that you have to put your finger in to get the lip balm out. That I'm not a fan of, so I'll be passing over that. There's a nail polish, and then there's a blush lighter, which is the pink shell in the clear compact at the top of the picture. They also have a cognac sponge at the bottom and a lip tint. The lip tint is pH reacting, so I have a feeling it's going to turn that like really electric pink fuchsia on me. Not a fan of that look. I wish it were just a lip oil, like a coral tinted lip oil with a little bit of sparkle. I would have been all over that. But I am interested in the blush lighter, so if I see that come to Ulta, I'll probably pick that up too. Alright, now we're getting into some weird stuff. So 2 different brands are releasing like shoe-shaped palettes. One is this YL Cosmetics company, and they have 4 different shoe-shaped palettes. Blue monochromatic, a red monochromatic, sort of a generally purple monochromatic, and then a rainbow. I don't like palettes that are weird shapes just for the sake of being weird shapes. There's nothing about these color stories that really strikes me as like, oh, that reminds me of a shoe, because it doesn't. So I really don't think that's necessary. That would drive me nuts to store. On top of which, they look like they're very like tall, like thick packaging, and I just don't think that would make a lot of sense either. They're fairly reasonably priced, $24, but it does look like there may be some pressed glitters. Even more reason not to get them, so I'll be passing over those. The other brand doing something similar is a Uoma. A Unior Avenue Cosmetics. I'm sure I'm destroying that name. There is a 20 shade stiletto palette that is like a pink purple type palette for $45. 5 lippies, and they have a face sponge that is shaped like a stiletto. Again, I'm all for like the cute concept of sponges, like making them different shapes, but it has to be like a functional shape. There has to be a reason why it can't just be a teardrop or a round sponge. Like, what's the purpose? And I just don't think there's any part of a high-heeled shoe shape that is needed in order to like blend out your concealer. So it just kind of misses the mark. Like, I get it, it's cutesy, but it just doesn't hit for me. Juvia's Place is releasing more of their blush palettes. So they originally had 2 different volumes, which were very like warm toned, kind of corally summer shades, but they've now included some more deep tones, some bright tones, an even more orange one, and then a very cool toned bright pink palette. I do think these are pretty. I don't know that I necessarily need to pick any of these up because I feel like I have a ton of blushes right now, but at some point in the future I may consider that sort of watermelon-y coral one at the very bottom of the picture, because I think the like brightness of that one is really eye-catching. Pharmacy is releasing a Peaches and Clean makeup cleansing balm, and I would really love to pick this up. I think that sounds like it would smell amazing. It's peach scented, of course, and it's $36. I've not tried the cherry one, but I did want to try that one as well because I just think it would be a really nice balm to use. There is also a charity component for this. They are, with each purchase, donating 20 meals to families in need to help fight hunger and food waste, which I think is pretty cool. Like, most makeup brands are not doing any like philanthropy there. Sure, you could just donate directly, that's also an option, but that would be kind of cool to pick that up. So that'll be on my wish list at Sephora for sure. Moira Cosmetics is releasing Soft Focus waterproof setting powders. And I kind of wonder if these would be like a similar dupe for the Dior Powder No Powder. That's kind of what like lured me into these. They're $12. They're supposed to be oil controlling natural matte finish. I tend not to be an oily person. I tend to run like normal to dry, so I don't necessarily need something like this, but I do wonder if it would be nice to kind of blur all those imperfections after you kind of go in a little too heavy with the rest of your face products. And one more thing from Colourpop that they're releasing or have released, it's the Clay It Cool collection, which is a warm-toned neutral 10-pan palette, a face highlighter, and then what looks like some bronzers and some lip products. This has to be the most unnecessary Colourpop collection I have ever seen in my entire life. We have so many warm-tone neutral palettes from Colourpop that are light years more interesting than this particular palette. I don't know why they felt so strongly to like release this collection other than to also release the bronzers, but I just don't want it, don't need it, it bores me. And then the last thing to talk about is the Sydney Grace Christmas in July sale. So they do this every year. Every day they have a different like sale or perk or a free gift with purchase, that kind of thing. They do mystery bags. They recently released their brushes, so I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do something with the brushes at some point during the sale. If you head out to their Instagram account, you'll be able to see all the different things that they're going to be launching during that time, what's going to be on sale and for how much, so you can kind of make your wish list ahead of time. But know that the actual deals change from day to day, so make sure you're planning to make your purchase on the appropriate day so that you get the perks and the gifts and things that you want. And with that said, I think that is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'm going to catch you in my next video. Bye!